think we're very lucky tonight to have two great candidates for the county executive's office. They've both been leaders and fighters for democratic values, and we're looking forward to hearing from both of them. I didn't decide an order, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip a coin. Senator Sullivan, call it in the air.
Heads.
It's heads. You want to go first or second?
I'll go second.
All right. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce one of our great candidates for county executive, someone who I think a lot of you know has been on a lot of nonprofit boards, has obviously given a lot of himself and his family's time and other resources, and we really appreciate his leadership and him being here today. Mr. Abele.
I was actually, I agree with Sachin. We have strong candidates in the race, and I've been proud to call Jim a friend and supporter. And like many people, was very sad to see him in a district just bracketed by Tom Reynolds on one side and Leah, and I think it's sort of a cuckoo clock frame. God, you served us a lot better. I'm from Boston. I moved here about 20 years ago, and I stayed here because I love this place like nowhere else I've ever lived, and I won't live anywhere else. As many of you know, I run a foundation right now. I support and have supported for a long time a lot of lefty causes proudly, a lot of Democrats. Prior to that, I built and ran a business, had some success in that, and continue to maintain it, but most of my time and the most rewarding thing I do is to work hard and try to help move the world in the right direction, and as I see it, I imagine it's largely how you see it. Politically, I was thinking before experience with other-minded people. For a long time, a big part of what I did was human rights work. And I had the odd and somewhat surreal experience of working with the Bush State Department, which was just that, odd and surreal. I know that things you've heard and descriptions about how partisan things can get in government, even when I thought I'd seen the highest extremes, I had the experience of the State Department requesting a group that I was working with a meeting, and they wanted to do a grant with us, and they asked on a phone call, hey, we like your group, but we've researched your board of directors, and you have a lot of Democrats on your board. And I seriously thought he was joking at the time, and I said, well, that's still legal, right? Or is it like Patriot Act 3 where we kind of ruled that out? And you were researching us why, and this was your meeting. But just in terms of the extremes to which things go, we can never forget. We can never forget. It's so important to fight for the things that make Democrats great. Fundamental fairness, fundamental civil liberties, and that's why I've spent a lot of my working life in the last 20 years doing that, and with pride. My progressive experience, I think, is best summed by ACLU, Citizen Action, Planned Parenthood, now Feminist Majority, NARAL, Women for Women, League of Conservation Voters, a whole bunch of education groups, and a long list, none of which, of course, I was doing because I thought I was going to be running for office, all of which I was doing because they're things I care about and will do no matter what happens in this race. I decided to run because while I've been on the other side and supported candidates and Dems with varying degrees of success locally, statewide, and federally for many years, I truly, truly care, again, about the place that's my home. And I've watched, as we all have, as this county has been an increasing train wreck. I mean, I think it might have been the Titanic about maybe 6 years ago. It's become the Titanic plus the Hindenburg, but worse. Since then, and given what the governor is likely to do in terms of shared revenue and reimbursement funds, it'll get worse still. I think the fact that the biggest thing the county does, Health and Human Services, is something we rarely hear about, is because for 7 years, the last leader of county was largely indifferent to Health and Human Services, and that is truly tragic. Yes, parks matter, absolutely, and so do the arts, and so do the courts, and so does busing, and so does transit, but human services, I mean, the human part of what we do, is that to allow that to suffer the way we have is beneath all of us. I'm running because I care. I'm running because I've had a lot of opportunities to lead and I've had a lot of success doing it. I'm running because I've worked with politicians at local, state, and federal level on both parties And I'm running because I know I can make a difference, and I will beat Jeff Stone.
Okay, thank you so much, Chris. So we have 2 yes or no questions, and then we have an additional question. These are all from the Issues Committee of the local Democratic Party, and then we'll open it up for a couple of questions from the field here. So the first is, will you...
Packers.
Yeah. Question 0, do you support the Packers? Okay. Will you support the half-cent sales tax that voters approved for public transit and for property tax relief? Yes or no?
Well, yes or no. I mean, they approved it before a giant recession. You know, I probably want to make sure they still approved it, otherwise I wouldn't be a Democrat.
Okay.
Majority.
All right. So his answer is he wants to hear from the people.
There you go.
Okay. Number 2, will you support a resolution that requires the county to lobby our congressional delegation to eliminate military spending in Iraq and Afghanistan and use the money to meet domestic needs?
Well, I will absolutely would and have lobbied lots to spend the titanic waste of cash that we regularly do in wars that aren't achieving anything. And yeah, I don't think anyone in the room probably disagrees that the money would be far better spent domestically. What I can do from the county, I'm not really sure, but if someone's got a good idea, I'm all over it.
Okay, great. And then the third question from the Issues Committee is that parts of Milwaukee County have infant mortality rates as bad as sub-Saharan Africa. How will you address, as county executive, the health crisis in Milwaukee County?
Well, see earlier reference point about the tragedy that is Health and Human Services in Milwaukee. I mean, step 1, act like we care. Prioritize like we care, fund like we care, higher quality management like we care. I have had the great privilege of hiring leadership a lot. I've had that experience. I'm a big fan of going out and getting the best and the brightest, and it's something I think I know how to do. And I would absolutely, that's the starting point. I mean, the most important part in any functioning organization is good leadership. You know, I don't see the staff around me as part of a campaign strategy for governor a few years. I don't see labor as the enemy, and I don't see supervisors as people to be avoided. You can't let people help with a problem if you don't talk to them. I'll talk, I'll seek out and reward good, talented people.